Hi, and welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you have visited before. My name is Angela, and here on What's on My Needles podcast, I like to share everything that I get up to craft-wise. I am multi-craftual person, but lately I have been sharing and enjoying and making a lot of knitted and crochet things. So without further ado, I have one finished object to share today. I have two UFOs that I have finally finished, fixed more than anything, and I have a lot of whips. I cannot stop casting on new projects. I am very excited about a lot of summer patterns and about a lot of summer knits that I am working on right now. So let me share. Let me start with my finished projects. So the first one, I have made this last year. This is the Camisole number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. You can find it on Ravelry, but if you try by the pattern, it will redirect you to an external website, which is her website, and save your pattern when it comes in the email. I did not, and I did write on the first print out that I have made. I don't know what I did with the email. It just disappeared and I cannot find it. But anyway, I since then wiped out the writing on the original pattern and I made copies, so I have some for the future. I do like to print out my patterns. I don't like to work from a screen, but because I like to make notes on it and or mark where I stopped, because just like I said, I like to work on multiple projects at the same time. That means that I don't work on one project since the start to the finish, and if I leave it and I come back to it, I might not remember exactly where to pick up from. So that's why I like to make notes and marks and stuff on my patterns. Anywho, this was more of a DK weight yarn. It is 100% cotton. It's a yarn that I had left over from when I lived in Italy, and I made it with all the yarn that I thought I had, and it was too short. And since then I was cleaning up my stash and I found one more ball of that yarn, so I added the entire ball, and I added not 100% sure, it might have been 3 inches. It was about this much, about 3 inches, 4 inches to the length, and now it's perfect and I very much like it. I love that pattern. Since the first one, I made it again once more in merino, superwash merino fingering weight, and I was able to make that one with 100-gram skein, and it barely tucks into my pants, but it does, and I like to wear that one as an undershirt or an under camisole for an extra woolly layer during the winter. Yeah, so I think I shared everything about this one. If you are interested, the pattern is available from extra small to double XL, and it is meant for fingering weight. It's been published in 2021, and I am already planning on making this again in silk yarn that I have. Can't wait. I really like the pattern. It's very flattering. and it fits very nicely. And so you work it top to bottom without the straps. You do provisional cast on, and as soon as you finish with the triangles, which are really fast, so you have the two fronts that are a little bigger, then you put them together, you knit a little bit longer before you add the back two smaller triangles, and then you work in a round as a broken rib stitch, and then when you're done with that, you just add your straps as long as you want them. Other unfinished finished project, it is the Summer Secret crop by Jessie Designs, also in Reverly, and I will link all the patterns that I'm talking about down below in the description box. This one is a free pattern, and it's worked bottom up, and I did long tail cast on, and it was too tight, and the length of the top also wasn't very flattering. I since then realized that I do like about 13 inches from my armholes to the bottom of the top. That's what's comfortable for me. It's about hip height, and it allows me to tuck the top into my pants at the front if I want to. So I did undo the cast on, put it back on the needles, and I added about an inch of ribbing, and then I did a stretchy bind off. I learned this one when I have made my first ever, my first ever shawl, and that one is also a free pattern, so I will link it in the description box. And her stretchy bind off is done in the way that you work 2 stitches and then you work those 2 stitches together. So you can still do a rib, so you can knit one per one, and then you knit them together, and then you knit the next one, and then you knit the 2 together, and then you purl the next one, and then you knit them together. So you practically never have more than 2 stitches on your right needle, and every time you do have 2 stitches on your right needle, you knit them together. So it makes one, and you work 1 stitch from your left needle, and so on. Hope it makes sense. And that free shawl pattern is really, really nice too. Highly recommend. I do not have that shawl anymore. I gifted to a friend. Yeah. Oh, this pattern is available in double XS all the way up to 5XL. And it is worked on 3.75 millimeter needles or 4.5 millimeter needles. I think, I'm not 100% sure if I used 4 or 4.5. I think I used 4, and this is the Kubu yarn from Lion brand. It is a mixture of bamboo and cotton, and I do like that yarn a lot, but I since then realized that I do like it much better when it's worked on 4.5 millimeter needle. That weight, the yarn weight that actually is used for this top, or that Jessie used to make the top, was fingering weight, and I did use a DK weight. And I added, so it is all stockinette. The pattern is all stockinette, but I did add some yarn overs and slip knit stitches just to make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, that's all about that one. And now let me tell you about my lavender tank top. And I will add a video of me wearing it. I finally finished it. So I had 2 summer whips that were dormant over the winter, and I did pick them back up and finally finished this one. I still have one more since the last summer, but this is the Lavender Tank by Jenny Williams. It is a pattern that's been published in 2020, and it calls for 2 lace weight yarns held together to create DK weight yarn. And you're supposed to use 3.5 millimeter needles, and it comes in sizes 33 to 57.5 inches of circumference at underarm. Okay, and I made quite a few modifications for this top, and I will not go into a big detail because I will make a special episode where I will talk just about this tank top and tell you everything about it. But just to tell you a little bit, I did use a Juniper Moon Farm in the color Zoe, which is not available anymore, unfortunately. And the original pattern has this lace in the middle front, and it also has it on the sides. I did not do that. I only used the front, and it has tubular cast on, which I did not do. I did a rib cast on. Well, I did it, but then it looked really tight and I didn't like it. So I did a rib stitch, and then I did use it as a cast off where it was called for under the arms. And yeah, that's pretty much all I want to share for now. Like I said, I will make a special episode where I will talk just about this top and I will tell you everything about it. Now, let's talk about my whips. And I updated my Ravelry, and I updated all my whips on Ravelry, and I'm tracking them all there. You can see the patterns, the yarns that I'm using, and the needle sizes, and I am adding some progress pictures too. Let's start with my Odele top. This is the other whip that has been hibernating over the winter. Now I picked it back up, and I am working on this one just a tad more than I am on the other ones because I can't wait to finish it. I am using 2 yarns held together. I'm using the Fibra Natura Flex, which is 100% linen, and I'm holding it together with Make It Bloomshin from Rico Design. It is this really thin thread and has some, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, you might. It has a little bit of a sequence in it, and I think it's really cute. Something to say about this yarn is that I do not recommend you working on it if you're wearing all black. That's for sure. It makes a tiny little fluffs, just flying everywhere. I'm hoping that will go away once I wash this top. I'll tell you a little bit more about the pattern. So Odele is as a pattern by Amy Christoffers. It's been published in Morocco, and it's a DK weight yarn pattern worked on 3.5 or 3.20 and 3.25 millimeter needles. I think I am using 3.75. One thing to note that I am a really tight knitter, so, and I don't really check my gauge, so I kind of go intuitively and I hope for the best. This pattern is available in 8 sizes from 37 to 58 inches, and I did the second size 40 inches because it's supposed to have quite a bit of positive ease. And another thing to say is that the pattern is supposed to be worked in 2 pieces and then sewn together. I have decided to work in a round, and I added, I'm not sure if it's in the pattern or if I added this. I added a couple of rib stitch, knit 1, purl 1 rows at the bottom so it would not roll. And let me show you. This is what my edge looks at the bottom. I just can't wait for this to be done. Can't wait to wear it. I think it's gonna be quite nice. So I did split for the armholes. It is worked bottom up, and then once I have about 8.5 inches, then it has a little bit of a slope for the shoulders on top. I think it's, I don't know if you can see it. It's just the air is full of those little floofs, little white floofs. Anyhow, I just can't get over this. Every time I'm knitting in the car and the sun is shining through the window, I just keep playing with it. I love the sparkle. And it's very subtle, so it's not like in your face sequence. And I really like the color that it's coming out because the Make It Bloomshin is a tiny bit darker than the linen yarn. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited and I can't wait. I'm also playing for the first time, maybe, a yarn chicken, big time. So this yarn I have bought in Denver and it was on sale, so they do not have it anymore, and it's not that easy to find it online either. I do, so I am working on this ball and I have 2 more, and I have about 5 more inches for the back and both of the fronts, and it has like a V-neck shape, so I think I don't think I will need as much for the front as I do need for the back. And I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do if I run out. I might ask somebody on Ravelry if they're willing to part with it, because a lot of people do have it in their stash. And if not, if I can't find any, I will just undo the bottom and try to salvage some of the yarn from the bottom to finish the top. That is why we all prefer to work on patterns that are made top down, because if we plain yarn chicken, you can always make things cropped, but if you plain yarn chicken working from the bottom to the top, it makes things a little bit more interesting and a little bit more complicated. Okay, so that's my first whip that I am working on right now. Next one that I would like to share with you is my Yarden cardigan. I do have lots of Lion Brand yarns. I do like their Kubu and their Traboo yarns. I do like them a lot. I don't think it's the highest quality, but I do like the way they feel, and I do like them. Anyhow, and who doesn't like affordable, right? So here I am again working bottom up. So this is the Yarden cardigan. I think the only thing that I have modified, so I'm working on 4.5 millimeter needles because I do know that the Kubu, once you wash it, does shrink a little bit, and I do like the drape that it has on 4.5 millimeter needles. I don't know, let me see, what does the pattern call for? The pattern calls for 3.75 millimeter needle for the ribbing, and then 4 millimeter needle for the body and the sleeves. And I worked 4 millimeter needle for the ribbing, which I did twisted rib stitch instead of 1 by 1. And I do like the look of, I'm sorry about all the hair, especially in the black yarn. You can see it all. It's about 50-50 mine and my cat's. Anywho, this is how far I am. It's really easy 4-row repeat. And yeah, I have been looking for a nice summer cardigan that it's made with natural fibers. It is not easy, and I was not successful finding one. Let's put it that way. And I think that I am working on this one the least, and the reason is because there's about 100 degrees outside most of the days. So I don't feel as much motivated to work on this one. But like I said, I love the drape, and it's growing fast. Between the stitch pattern with the yarn overs, it grows pretty fast, and the fact that it's worked on 4.5 millimeter needle too, it's growing. Okay, so that's my first whip from this summer. It has not been hibernating. That second whip as in total. Okay, what else? Which one I want to share with you next? Let's see this one. So Flow Loop Top by Other Loops. I have just started this morning. This is from with the Tribute by Lion Brand. This color is the slate. It is an interesting color. So it is like a dark gray with a little bit of purple tones, I would say. And I have used this yarn to make one of my knitted bandanas that I sell. Because I do also have a little business, and I used to keep everything on my website, but recently I have separated. So I am an herbalist, and I make herbal skincare, salves, tinctures, and things like that. But I also make a lot of handmade things like earrings, jewelry, beaded jewelry. I make some stitch markers, and I make crochet bandanas. And I used to carry everything on my website, but about a week ago I decided to separate the two, and I keep my herbal products on my website and all my handmade things on Etsy that I have just opened. And there's only a couple things there. It's taking me a little bit to update the listings, but where was I? Yeah, self-promotion. Sorry about the rant, but I will leave everything listed and linked down in the description box if you are interested. Anywho, I used this yarn, that's where I was. I used this yarn to make one of the bandanas that I sell during my markets and stuff, and I really loved the drape it had and the feel, so I ordered other colors, and I decided to use that yarn for this top because the Flow Loop top by Other Loops calls for a DK weight yarn, and this is a DK weight yarn. It calls for 3.5 millimeter needles, which I have used, and it is a recent pattern, quite popular right away. It has been published in June 2026, and it has 7 sizes from 1 to 7. I think I'm doing the size 2, and I finished, so it's worked top down. You work the front 2 triangles, and I like I said, I finished and I started the second front. I think it goes like this, and here we go. And I think that my gauge is off. I think that my gauge is smaller than what it should be. There are a couple of Japanese short rows at the top. You can see that it's not straight. It goes a little bit downhill, askew, or I'm not sure what the proper word is. I did frog this, and I cast it on again because it calls for make one right or make one left, kind of making a little bit of a holes. I don't know if you can see it. Been making a little bit of a gap. I don't know if it's yarn related, pattern related. I don't think it's pattern related, hands related. Like I said, I am a tight knitter, and I try to redo it, but the gaps are coming back again. It might go away once it's blocked. I don't know. We shall see. But that's how far I am, and I can't wait to wear this one. It's very pretty. Next, let me talk to you about my lace top by Victoria Snellman, I believe. This top is made with 2 fingering weight yarns huddled together to create DK weight. It's on needle sizes 5 millimeter or US 8. It is extra small and small together. So those 2 sizes together, medium, large, and extra large. Not many sizes, but yeah. And what else did I want to tell you? So it's a lot of lace on this top, and if you like written instructions, you're not gonna like this pattern because all the lace is in charts, and something that I don't like very much. And for the fact that it is a paid for pattern, and it is 8.5 euros. I'm not 100%. Oh, $7.75, $7.75. The chart it comes in 3 charts, and every chart has different number of rows. So it's kind of hard to keep track. I had to, so I took the number of the chart that has the most rows, and I just added those rows to the smaller charts. The first chart, which is very small, is the 10 stitch repeat, which is easy to keep track of. You just add the number before. So once you've done the first 10 rows, you just do 11. When you back on the first row, on 12th row, you do the second row. I hope that makes sense. But the other two are very inconsistent. I think one of them ends with 38 rows and the other one somewhere in the high 20s. Plus that one, you only work the whole chart once, and then the second time you're supposed to omit the bottom 2 rows. So it's kind of a mess. If you don't like charts, it's going to give you a headache. And you could also take a paper with little squares and make your own chart to make it easier to track rows, or you can do what I did, just add, I don't want to show the pattern because it is paid for pattern, but maybe I can show you this. So literally I just added numbers. I hope you can see it. I just added numbers so it is easier for me to keep track. That being said, the top is gorgeous. That's why I'm keeping going. I didn't give up on it. I am again modifying this pattern because it has all the lace that it's in the back, it's also in the front. The only difference, you do work bottom up and you work in the round, but the only difference is that the V shape on the back is deeper than the one on the front, and I didn't really want that much lace on the front of the top. So what I did, I only worked the 2 stitch repeats on the sides, which one is right here and one is right here, and then I only did stockinette in between for the front, and then once I get to the V shape on the top, I am going to add the cables. So it will have the cables that will frame in the V shape and go up onto the straps. And I did keep the back as the pattern calls for. So here it is. So you work those 2 are the 10 row stitch repeats. And then you work those 2, and this is another chart altogether. So, and there's these have 4 stitches knitted together, either normal knit or knit through the back loop, which were kind of challenging too. What I started to do, it's just I transfer them in the way they're supposed to be worked onto my right needle. Then I loop the yarn on the right needle, and then with the left needle I just drop them one by one. It's just a little easier for me. She gives you a tip to use a smaller DPN for that, but either way it didn't really work for me that well, so I found my own trick. And my last whip, this is actually, I think I said that about my cardigan, but this whip is actually the one that I have been working on the least because of the yarn that I have chosen. Oh no, I have two more. Sorry. So let me talk about this one first. This is the Calm Night Cami by Lily Kate Friends. And this I am, so this is a pattern that fits a bust sizes 28 to 30, all the way up to 60 to 62 inches. And it is made with fingering weight yarn, and you use 3mm needles and 3.25mm needles. And I have finished it is worked top down, and I have finished the back. It looks really tiny. I hope I did things right, and as I said, I do not gauge swatch and I do not check my gauge, but I hope this is right. Either way, this is the top back, and then you stop, and then you work the two fronts, and then you just put all together and you work in the round. And I do believe that the finishings on the armholes and on the neckline is done after. I really, really love this yarn. So this is yarn from Netflix. It is fingering weight in the color Chalk Dust. Comes in 50 grams. And it is a mixture of 80% Cupro and 20% mulberry silk. And I did look into it because I was curious. The Cupro, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's actually, how shall I call it? It's like a byproduct of cotton. So all the little flutes, and they're not long enough to make a strand, are worked into Cupro. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but it's practically cotton. Okay, that's another one. And yeah, there were some short rows. The pattern is very, very well written, and all the patterns that I'm actually working on, I have not made anything from those designers before. So besides the lacy top that is giving me a headache, I'm enjoying it anyway. It's growing pretty fast because I'm working it on 4.5mm needles, which is another thing, instead of 5mm needles that she calls for. I think that even if it doesn't have that many sizes, if you play with the yarn choice and with the needle size, I think you could add some sizes or make it quite customizable. Anywho, my last whip that I want to share with you is the one that I am working on the least, and the reason is because of the yarn. The yarn is, if I can find the label, the yarn is Sea Isle by Plymouth Yarn. It is a mixture of 50% cotton and 50% merino wool. In the color 15, Gloucester gray. Let me show you. There it is, right there. And I am making the Josefina top by Claudia Quintanilla. And this one is also worked top down. And the reason why I'm not working on it as much as I am on the others, it's one, because I didn't have another pair of 4.5mm needles, which you need to switch to after you're done with this twisted rib. And also because of the yarn, like I said, it's about 100 degrees here most days, and I don't think I want to wear wool right now. But also I've seen a lot of people wear wool or work with cotton merino yarn from Knitting for Olive a lot, so maybe it will feel good. I'm not sure. Anywho, you do work top down after you transfer to a bigger needles. You work a little bit of a lace. I think it's a gorgeous pattern. I think I got it for free. I think I did catch it when she offered it for free, and I did got it. Anyhow, she worked hers with fingering and lace weight yarns held together to create DK weight, and she worked hers on 3.5 millimeter needles. I don't think that's excuse me. Yeah, so the 4 millimeter needle is missing. You do the twisted rib on 3.5, but then you transfer onto 4 millimeter needle to work the body of the top. Yeah, I am excited. I love this yarn. This yarn is incredibly soft. So beautiful. It is actually an Aran weight yarn, and I am working on bigger needles. I am working the ribbing. I'm working on 4 millimeter needle, and then I will transfer into 4.5 millimeter needle. So half a size up, and I am. Oh, the sizes available are from 1 to 9. 9. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit inconsistent and all over the place and staring in my computer most of the time. I hope you forgive me. So yeah, I am working 4 millimeter and 4.5 millimeter needles, so a little bit bigger than what the pattern calls for, and the size that I am working on is small. I picked the size small. And so this is practically the top, and yep, right there. And then I do believe that this much will be united with the front. No, this is the front with the back. Yeah. And this is going to be the opening and then the second shoulder. That's it. Every time I feel like I have so much to share and then I blather through it so fast. Please let me know if I missed anything. Sometimes I doubt if the things that I'm sharing are even useful. And please let me know if you have any questions. And I can't wait to share more with you. Like I said, I will be working on an episode where I will talk about all about my lavender top, and I do need to do this a little bit more often. I have been crazy busy. I got a new job. I got actually sort of a promotion, so higher up position than what I was working at before. And I took a week off for the transition and I got sick. Instead of enjoying my time off, I got sick, and then I shadowed my past boss, and I admire a lot just to learn from her any tricks that she had to share. And then I also had another market. I had a market not last weekend, but the weekend before. It was not a great market. I think, well, it was a wonderful it was a wonderful, how can I describe it, idea, and it was great, but not for the people that came to do market. It was great for the classes that they have offered and for the people that participated during the classes. And the place was gorgeous. It was on the farm, but for us vendors, not so great. It has not been very advertised, and not a lot of shoppers came in. And it was really hot, so quite uncomfortable and boring. But I did a lot of knitting, and I did a lot of knitting in the past week on the couch when I was not feeling too good. And yeah, thank you all who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you for all the comments that you leave, and I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. Let me know if there's anything that I am missing, anything that you would like to know. Till next time, I hope your life is filled with happiness and happy knitting. Bye.